Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're tackling someone whose face, voice, and that incredibly sharp wit seem to pop up just about everywhere. We're talking decades, platforms, really everything.
Absolutely. This is an artist who's really mastered moving between worlds, from skewering reality TV on E, anchoring a huge sitcom, and now he's doing these really complex dramatic roles on places like FX.
Exactly. We're diving deep into Joel Edward McHale, actor, comedian, host, born November 20, 1971. And his background, it's surprisingly high-achieving and definitely adaptable.
That's the goal today, right? To synthesize all these sources, we have film work, hosting, personal details, even his charity stuff, to figure out how he stayed relevant since, 1996? Because for a lot of people, he's mainly the soup guy or Jeff Winger from Community.
Yeah, those are the big two. But when you dig into the timeline, you see it's not just luck, it's strategy. It's this really unique foundation. We've got a good stack of material here ready to break it down for you. Okay, let's unpack this. Starting with the origin story. Because it really isn't what you'd expect for the guy known for mocking Hollywood. You'd think LA native, maybe?
Not even close. It's actually the first big twist. He was born in Rome, Italy, 1971.
Rome. Really?
Yeah, but it wasn't like a celebrity thing. It was academic. His father, Jack McHale, was the dean of students for Loyola University's Rome Center back then.
Wow. Okay, that immediately paints a different picture. Educated background, and the heritage is mixed too, right?
Right. Dad's American from Chicago, mom's Canadian from Vancouver. And the sources say McHale himself is Irish and Norwegian descent, so roots in a few places.
But he mostly grew up.
Primarily Pacific Northwest, Mercer Island, Washington, near Seattle. There was a short time in Haddonfield, New Jersey, but Washington State is really where he kind of set his roots, academically and comedically.
And this is where we hit that first, major contradiction. You see him on screen, so quick, so seemingly effortless, especially as Jeff Winger. You don't immediately think academic powerhouse.
But the sources are really clear. University of Washington got his Bachelor of Arts in History back in '95.
History, huh?
Yeah, and think about it. History requires sharp analysis, synthesizing tons of info, making arguments quickly. Pretty good skills for a satirical host, right?
That actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But he didn't stop there.
Nope. Right after the BA, he got an MFA from the Professional Actors Training Program, also at UW.
Okay, pause on that. An MFA in acting. That's serious business. We should probably spell out for you, the listener, what that means. It's intense. Classical training, stage combat, voice work, the whole craft.
Exactly. It's not like a weekend workshop. These programs are usually super competitive, small enrollment. It's full-on commitment to performance fundamentals. That's the bedrock for his ability to handle drama later, not just jokes.
And then there's the sports angle, which is another layer. He was recruited for rowing initially.
Yeah. Rowing at UW requires incredible discipline and teamwork.
But he switched.
He did. Ended up walking onto the football team. Tight end.
Wait, he played football for UW?
Well, he was on the team for 2 seasons. Didn't actually play in any official games, but he was out of the squad. He was on the team that went to the 1993 Rose Bowl.
Okay, so let's tally that up. History degree, MFA in acting, Division I athlete walk-on, but still, that's quite a combination.
It really is. Classical training, sharp analysis, physical discipline. It's unique.
You can almost see how that creates Jeff Winger, right? Physically present.
Yeah.
Looks like he can talk his way out of anything.
What's fascinating here is all that intense academic and athletic stuff is kind of hidden beneath this relaxed, witty delivery he's famous for. He didn't just show up looking the part. He put in years of discipline, training, acting, improv, physical stuff.
And that training wasn't just academic. He was doing comedy in Seattle right alongside it, before he even hit LA.
Exactly, and that context is crucial for understanding the hosting success. He was part of Almost Live, that local sketch show on King TV.
Right?
But maybe even more important was the improv. From 93 to 97, he was with Unexpected Productions, did theater sports, down at the Market Theater in Pike Place.
Oh, yeah. Constant improv, high pressure, thinking on your feet, creating characters, jokes, structure, just instantly.
That's the training ground. It built those reflexes, that ability to process and comment on pop culture basically in real time, which is exactly what you need to host something like The Soup for a decade. He became this, critique machine.
So we had the physicality, the classical training, the improv speed. Seattle really forged the skill set he needed Well, everything that came next.
He was ready. That foundation let him tackle hosting and acting at the same time.
Which brings us perfectly to the next stage.
Yep.
Moving from Seattle to the national spotlight, specifically E! Network, this is where most people probably first really noticed him.
Yeah, we're talking The Soup, the show that basically cemented his whole Snark King persona. He took over in 2004, and it wasn't a quick gig. He hosted that satirical weekly roundup of TV weirdness for 11 years, right up to 2015.
11 years. And the sources say he wasn't just reading lines, he was a writer and executive producer too.
That's right. Which means a massive commitment. Think about it, 618 episodes. Finding the clips, writing the jokes, delivering it fresh every single week for over a decade. On the most disposable topics imaginable, reality TV clips.
And here's where it gets really interesting. Balancing that with a whole other demanding TV role simultaneously. Because in 2009, Community starts on NBC.
Exactly. So for 6 solid years, he's doing both. He's the sharp-tongued host of a clip show in LA, and he's the lead of this ensemble network sitcom. The scheduling alone must have been brutal.
Just the mental whiplash, right? Switching from that polished, cynical Soup persona to the really layered, often vulnerable Jeff Winger character kind of proves that point about discipline managing that workload as almost an athletic achievement.
And his usefulness didn't stop there because he was so quick, so charming, and could kind of roast people or institutions without, completely burning bridges. He became the go-to guy for hosting high-profile, high-pressure events.
We see that all over. He hosted the White House Correspondents' Dinner in 2014. Talk about a high-wire act making jokes for politicians and the press corps.
Huge gig.
Yeah.
But also industry stuff like the Independent Spirit Awards in 2011, the ESPYs in 2015. So indie film cred, major sports. He crossed over.
And then those random but notable appearances, guest judge on RuPaul's Drag Race, and hosting the Ubisoft press conference at E3 in 2010. That's tapping into the massive gaming world.
He really became this incredibly reliable host for big moments.
Yeah.
But the sources show that trying to take that clip shows success into the streaming era. That was tougher.
Right, the Netflix show. The Joel McHale Show with Joel McHale, 2018.
Yeah, pretty much tried to replicate the Soup formula, celebrity guests, sketches, viral clips from around the world.
But it didn't last long, did it? Was that about him or just the format dying out in the streaming age? Is the clip show just not a thing anymore outside of maybe basic cable?
That's a really good question. I mean, he did 618 episodes weekly on E!, right? Huge success. But Netflix works differently. The sources suggest that even with his name recognition, it got canceled after just 19 episodes. Low viewership was the reported reason. It kind of suggests that format, which relies on being super current week to week, maybe struggles when it's dropped all at once on a streaming platform. People consume it differently. It really highlights how tough that transition can be, even for established stars.
Yeah, that's the key takeaway for you listening. Past success, even massive success like The Soup, doesn't automatically translate to the streaming world and its algorithms.
But he didn't give up hosting. He just shifted strategy, moved towards reviving known game show formats, more predictable viewership maybe. He hosted the Card Sharks revival on ABC, started in 2019.
That one also didn't stick around forever, though.
True. 2 seasons, 21 episodes. Canceled in April 2022, another relatively short run. It does seem like landing those single-host gigs was trickier after the decade-long stability of The Soup.
But he seems to have found his footing more recently in unscripted.
Yeah, I think taking on more control helps, like with Crime Scene Kitchen on Fox. That started in 2021. It's had 16 episodes so far. And crucially, he's not just the host, he's also an executive producer.
Ah, the EP credit.
Yeah.
That links back to The Soup's success, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe his hosting sweet spot is when he has that creative involvement, shaping it to his style, not just presenting.
Seems like it. And that continues. He's hosting the U.S. version of the 1% Club now, starting with season 2. So if you look at this whole hosting arc, there's this constant tension, right? The massive long run of The Soup, which got an Emmy nod in 2014, by the way, for Outstanding Short Format Live Action Entertainment Program, versus the quicker turnover of a lot of the later projects, like the Netflix show, Card Sharks. It shows he's constantly adapting, searching for the next sustainable format, and often finding it when he has that producer role.
Okay, let's pivot now to the acting side, which, that MFA and the improv really set the stage for. This is how most fans probably know him best.
Yeah, he definitely did the classic actor grind after moving to LA, picking up those essential small parts. The sources mentioned things like Diagnosis, Murder, CSI Miami. And interestingly, he was on Will and Grace twice, years apart, as completely different characters, Ian first, then later Phil. That's a working actor right there.
Totally. And he had that Tiny but memorable part in Spider-Man 2 in 2004. Mr. Jax, the bank manager, getting flustered by Doc Ock, just establishing that screen presence.
And all that groundwork led right to the big one. Jeff Wimmer in Community. NBC sitcom ran 2009 to 2015, 6 seasons, 110 episodes.
Jeff Winger really feels like the perfect storm of everything we've talked about. He's charming, manipulative, smart, funny, but also has these moments of real vulnerability. You needed the comedy timing and the serious acting chops for Winger's big speeches.
Absolutely. And the show itself, while maybe not a huge ratings giant, was beloved by critics and had a passionate fan base. McHale got recognized too. Couple of fan-voted EWE awards for Best Actor in a Comedy, a Critics' Choice nomination. And the whole cast won Ensemble Awards, PAFTJ, TV Guide Favorite Ensemble. It was a quality show.
Community was definitely a high point. But like with many actors coming off a huge hit, figuring out the next step, that proved tricky.
Yeah, the post-hit sitcom challenge, it's classic.
Yeah.
Right after Community ended, he starred in The Great Indoors on CBS, played Jack Gordon, an adventure reporter type.
That one felt like it came and went pretty fast.
It did. 2016-2017, canceled after just 22 episodes, low ratings. And seeing that happen, alongside the Netflix show fizzling out, it really underscores how hard it is to carry a network comedy as the main lead, especially right after a beloved ensemble show, even for someone with his experience.
It suggests Community's magic was really in that specific ensemble and Dan Harmon's writing, not just something McHale could replicate on his own easily.
Exactly. But what's really impressive about McHale and key to his longevity is his willingness to just keep working, dump genres, take supporting parts. When the lead roles didn't stick, he pivoted back to guest spots and ensemble work, often in very different kinds of shows.
We see that versatility in the source list. He did a couple of episodes of Sons of Anarchy. That's gritty drama, totally different tone.
Right. Or playing Tad O'Malley in the X-Files revival for 4 episodes. Roles in cult favorites like Pushing Daisies. He was even in that unaired U.S. pilot for the IT Crowd.
It feels like he values interesting work and being part of cool projects more than just chasing the next starring role all the time. And that strategy, staying busy, doing guest arcs, seems smart for navigating those inevitable cancellations.
It's very strategic. Diversifying the portfolio, you could say. If one big show gets canceled, he's already got other things cooking, a guest spot here, maybe a hosting gig there. And a perfect example of him just leaning into the unexpected is his recurring thing with The Masked Singer.
Oh, right. He pops up as a guest panelist all the time. 10 episodes listed. And didn't he perform on it once?
He did. Season 4, he fully embraced the absurdity, sang Robin Thicke's blurred lines while dressed as Robin wearing a giant cutout of Robin Thicke's face.
Okay, that takes some serious lack of ego.
Totally. It shows he has a sense of humor about the whole fame game. He can be the guy analyzing pop culture and then become the subject of pop culture weirdness himself. That adaptability keeps him constantly in the mix.
Okay, let's focus on the last few years then. Because he seems to have hit a really sustainable groove, solidifying his place across completely different platforms, from superheroes to really intense drama.
The DC Universe work is a great example of that platform adaptability. Playing Sylvester Pemberton, Starman in Stargirl, started recurring on DC Universe, then the CW, and they actually upgraded him to series regular for the final season. That shows he adds value to these long-running narratives. He also had that recurring part on Santa Clarita Diet on Netflix.
But maybe the most surprising, niche, but probably super reliable financially is his voice acting work, especially in animation and video games.
This is so crucial and probably flies under the radar for a lot of people. He's become the voice of Johnny Cage for the animated Mortal Kombat movies. He did the whole trilogy, Scorpion's Revenge, Battle of the Realms, and the recent Cage match.
That's a huge franchise. A major recurring role running totally separate from his on-camera stuff. That's steady work, keeping him relevant to a whole different audience that maybe doesn't watch network TV.
Absolutely. And the video game credits. Massive.
Yeah.
He voiced XPO in LEGO Dimensions back in 2015. And right now, he's the voice of the scientist in Fortnite. That's uncredited, but still.
Fortnite, okay, that's arguably the biggest thing in gaming culture. His voice is constantly reaching millions of players globally.
It's incredibly smart positioning. He's not tied to just one network, one format.
And then, on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, there's this recent dramedy renaissance he's having, showing off much more intense, serious acting chops, most notably in The Bear.
Ah, yes. Chef David Fields. His recurring role on that huge FX Hulu hit, abusive, high-stress chef,
Yeah.
appears in, 7 episodes so far? It's such a deliberate shift from Jeff Winger or the guy from The Soup.
It really shows off that MFA training, right? Taking these intense supporting roles that are purely dramatic, no easy laughs. He can be genuinely unsettling.
Totally. It's like, how does Shakespeare training translate to playing a toxic chef? Well, there you go.
Yeah.
It proves he has that range, that depth.
But what's brilliant is at the same time he's doing The Bear, he's also starring in a network comedy again. Animal Control on Fox, premiered in 2023. He's the lead, Frank. And he's executive producer on that one, too.
So he's hedging his bets perfectly. You've got the high prestige, critically acclaimed, maybe riskier dramatic supporting part in The Bear earning him industry respect. And then you have the reliable, creatively controlled network sitcom lead in Animal Control providing that weekly stability.
His film work shows that same kind of variety, too, right? Big studio comedies like Ted or Blended. But not everything hits. We have to mention the Razzie factor.
Right. The Golden Raspberry nomination, worst supporting actor for The Happy Time Murders in 2019, that R-rated puppet movie.
Does a Razzie nom kind of mess with the adaptability narrative? Was that just a bad choice or a calculated risk that didn't pay off?
I think you have to see it as the latter. It shows he's willing to take risks on unique, high-concept stuff, even if it might bomb critically. It was a swing and a miss, sure, but it was one project. It didn't tank his other work because his career is so diversified. It was a blip in a portfolio full of other things.
And he's still booking major movies. He's lined up for Scream 7, playing Mark Evans. That's post-production, slated for 2026.
So, connecting this all to the bigger picture, the sheer amount of work, hosting, voice acting, drama, comedy, ensemble stuff, it all points to this incredible adaptability. He moves between genres, formats, platforms, network TV, streaming, animation, games seamlessly. That relentless utility, that strategic balancing of risk and reliable income, that's the key to his longevity.
Okay, so we've traced the career arc. Let's shift a bit to the personal side, the values, the challenges that kind of inform the public persona. Because he manages to stay incredibly current professionally while having this seemingly stable personal life.
Yeah, that stability seems pretty solid. Married Sarah Williams way back in July 1996. That's almost 3 decades. They have 2 sons. Live in LA Studio City now, used to be Los Feliz. That provides a real anchor, you'd think, in a crazy industry.
And one really important personal detail, Kat, in 2018, something crucial for you, the listener, to understand about his process. He revealed he's dyslexic.
Right, and the sources say he only found out after his own sons were diagnosed, which is fascinating when you think about his career.
Totally. Reading teleprompters quickly for The Soup, analyzing dense scripts, delivering those rapid-fire Jeff Winger monologues. Doing all that while managing dyslexia, it adds another layer to his work ethic. His memorization skills makes that MFA seem even more impressive.
Definitely adds context to the rigor we talked about earlier. Now, moving to beliefs and activism, the sources mention his religious background. Raised Catholic, but now attends a Presbyterian church, listed as a convert. He's also been a very vocal supporter of the LGBT community.
And he backed that up with action, didn't he? During that whole controversy over the North Carolina bathroom law a few years back, he had a show scheduled there.
He did, at the Durham Performing Arts Center. And he used the platform. Wore a homemade gay rights shirt on stage, spoke out directly against the law. And then, this is key, he donated all the money from that night's show to the LGBTQ Center of Durham.
Wow. All proceeds.
Yep. And he also publicly said he wouldn't perform in North Carolina again until the law was overturned.
That's taking a real stand, potentially alienating part of his audience, which raises an interesting question. How does that kind of outspoken political action square with the often neutral, just making jokes persona of The Soup?
It suggests a clear separation, doesn't it? The public snark persona is maybe the job, the professional mask, and that neutrality perhaps allows him the platform and freedom to then take strong personal stances on issues he cares about. He's using the visibility earned through one mode to act in another. It's a high-wire act, balancing broad appeal with personal conviction.
And beyond that specific protest, his philanthropy seems pretty consistent and broad. Specific focus on the Children's Tumor Foundation for Neurofibromatosis Awareness.
Right. But the list goes on. The sources mention support for the Trevor Project, UNICEF, Make-A-Wish, the Elton John AIDS Foundation, quite a few others. It paints a picture of someone genuinely committed to using his platform and resources for causes he believes in beyond just entertainment.
Okay, so let's wrap this deep dive up. Bring it all together. What have we really learned about Joel McHale? We start with that really disciplined, unexpected foundation. Born in Rome, the mixed heritage, the intense UW background, history BA, acting MFA, walk-on football player for a Rose Bowl team. Just Wow.
Yeah, that groundwork set him up perfectly for the decade as E's snark king on the soup, while also being the complicated heart of Community. And when those big successes started to shift or end, he showed incredible agility, pivoting away from the projects that didn't stick, like The Great Indoors or Card Sharks.
And his current career feels like this masterclass in managing risk and staying relevant. He's balancing the intense prestige drama of The Bear with the huge reach and steady paycheck of voice work in Fortnite and Mortal Kombat, plus anchoring and producing his own network show, Animal Control. He's everywhere, doing everything.
He really occupies this unique space. He's the adaptable guy, the MFA-trained athlete who can host a game show, then turn around and deliver a chilling, dramatic performance. He's the ultimate strategic utility player in Hollywood today. It's a case study in how to survive and thrive through constant reinvention, while carefully managing that line between professional persona and personal belief.
We've definitely seen his career is all about those pivot points, improv to hosting, network comedy to streaming drama, live action to voice work. So thinking about that and considering his track record with both short-lived projects and long-running gigs like his voice roles, plus upcoming movies like Scream 7, how do you think his strategy, balancing those high-risk leads with reliable ensemble and voice work, positions him for whatever comes next in media?
That's the question we'll leave you with. Is the future really about mastering all the platforms all at once? Being able to jump between genres, tones, pay scales, just to stay in the game? Something to think about. Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.